Aloha, I'm Brian. Today I'm going to be using this red skin potato and the other ones that we harvested the other day in a wasabi red skin potato salad. When I posted this photo over on Instagram, my Instagram friend Lola Hoya gave me this recipe, and I have a recipe for you. And if you'd like to give it a try, be sure to check the video description below. It's a very simple recipe. It sounds very tasty. I'm biased for wasabi, so when she said wasabi potato salad, I was like, oh, I got to give it a try. And not only on top of that, today is my niece's birthday, and she has a Hawaiian theme party, and I'm gonna bring this over and share it with everybody. So red potatoes are perfect for making potato salads with because they have a low starch content, which means when they're boiled, they're going to hold their form together. And when you go and you mix your potato salad together, you're not going to end up with a lumpy mashed potato. So it should be pretty quick to do. And I'm dying to try this out. And I'm already very excited because I know it's going to taste super good. So without further ado, let's go and cook this up. Here once again are our potatoes from the other day that we harvested. We're going to leave a few of them to replant. We'll just leave the smaller ones to replant and get more potatoes from. Okay, since we have potatoes of different sizes, one of the ways to deal with their difference in size and cooking time is maybe to throw these bigger ones in first, let them cook a little bit, or the other way is just to cut them in half or get them to about the same size as these other potatoes. But I think I'm just gonna that's what it looks like. You can hear the nice crunch when you slice into them. It's like an apple. And potatoes, people have said that you can grow them from just the skin. So in theory, here's an eye right here. You may be able to just to slice that off and grow a potato out of it. Maybe we will try that. Let's try that. Let's see. I'll have to see if I can find a spot in the garden for them. Here's the eye. We'll just slice off a little sliver and grow the potato from it. Let's see if we can do that. And if you watch the making the roasted salsa episode, you may have noticed in there I was making sun-dried tomatoes, and this is what they turned out to be. Here they are on the sheet pan here. The sheet pan was full of tomatoes, and now it's kind of shrunken down to about a half of the sheet, or a third of the sheet, half of the sheet pan. And they're really good for pasta salad. So you can julienne them and put them in pasta salad, or you can put them in pasta sauce. So and give it a nice, it gives it a nice texture and roastedness to it. Okay, the water's boiling. Let's get back to our video of making wasabi red potato salad. We're gonna drop the potatoes in here. I never know how long it takes. I just kind of poke at it every now and then to see if it's softened, and when it's softened, I take them out. So I wish I had a time for you, but I don't have the time because they're all various sizes, and I don't cook enough potatoes to be able to tell you how long it takes. Looks like I misjudged the amount of potatoes I have. I'm going to need a bigger pot. Okay, I've got them in a bigger pot now, and we'll just wait for them to cook. In the meantime, let's boil up some eggs. There are many ways to boil eggs. This is the way I like to boil them. I start them with cold water, especially with store-bought eggs. The shells of eggs are very thin, and putting the eggs in when the water is hot and boiling, you sometimes tend to drop it and crack them and end up with some egg drop soup. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll see if I can squeeze one more in there. I need 8 eggs in here. I'm gonna rearrange some eggs around. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to add water. Turn on the stove. Fill this pot up with water. Once it comes to a boil, I'll probably let it boil for a minute or two, since we're making well done eggs, or you can't really overcook them. And once it's boiled for a minute or two, I'm going to turn it off and let it sit until the water's cooled. During that process, it'll continue to cook, and you'll be sure to get boiled eggs. So far, the recipe calls for 8 medium-sized red potatoes, 8 eggs, and half a cup of sliced Maui onion or sweet onion. I actually went and looked for a Maui onion, but what I found was this Walla Walla sweet onion, and this is one that I'm going to try hopefully to grow next year, and maybe I'll look for the Maui sweet onion and try to grow that as well. And when cutting onions, especially onions, you're going to want a really sharp knife, so make sure you sharpen your knives before cutting it, and also just in general, when you feel like your knife has dulled, give it another quick sharpening. And of course, off camera, I went and cleaned off the knife because I don't want any metal shavings in my food. There are many methods to cutting onions, and I just like to slice them cross section like this, as thinly as possible. The eggs are boiling, so we just turn off the heat and let them continue to cook. And once it's cool, we'll peel them and cut them up. And this is how the red potatoes are doing. Not too much action going on. Speaking of action, let's come back to our sweet onion. It's not as sulfuric as a brown onion, so I'm not tearing up. I don't even feel any kind of burn whatsoever. So it looks like a quarter of that onion will chop up and dice up into half a cup of sweet onion. We're now at the rude part of the segment where we're going to check on our potatoes by poking at them. Using this chopstick, I just give it a gentle poke and see if there's any give. And since there's not, the potatoes are still very raw, and we'll wait on them some more. I'll just stir this around a little bit. Okay, so we have our eggs, and they're peeled, and I already cut into them to make sure they're boiled all the way through. And we're just going to slice them up to however size you like. I like them a little bit bite size. Okay, looks like our potatoes are ready. I guess one of the ways to tell is when the skin starts to break up. Red potatoes are harder to figure out with the poke test because they're low in starch and they're a little bit more dense that way. I went and looked it up, and I guess the general guideline is about 15 minutes after boiling. So this one already, the one I cut in half, already lost its skin, but we can still put it in our potato salad. So we'll wait for it to cool down, cut it up, and start putting together our potato salad. So at this point, I like to start and mix the eggs and mayonnaise and onions and whatnot together when I'm making potato salad. I like to save the mixing of the potatoes towards the end and try to mix it as little as possible so as not to turn it into mashed potato. And so now we're going to add in mayonnaise and wasabi. I'm very particular about mayonnaise, and I like a specific brand called, I think it's Best Foods. Today I was at this market called Sprouts, and they don't carry too many different brands. So I picked this up because I didn't want to make another trip to the store. But the ingredients sound promising. It doesn't have any kind of ingredients that I can't pronounce. It's got soybean oil, cider vinegar, whole eggs, egg yolks, water, some spice, some lemon juice concentrate, natural apple cider flavor, and extractives of black pepper. So that's all it has in here. Hopefully it'll taste good. The other co-star are wasabi, and wasabi is actually the root of the brassica family, which includes your mustards, your cabbages and stuff. And wasabi, the plant, is said to be very specific where it grows, and it's known to grow really well in a specific area in Japan. Well, recent years, there are people who've claimed that you can grow wasabi outside of that area, and I want to give growing wasabi a try one of these days, because the wasabi that we get in a tube, because wasabi is so rare, is usually made up of things other than the wasabi plant, and usually made with horseradish and a combination of mustard. I lost the box, so I don't even know what's in here, but I'm pretty sure there's very little, or if there's any wasabi at all. But it has the horseradish and the effects of wasabi, which is that burn that is so good. So in here we'll go a cup of mayonnaise to start, and then I believe a tablespoon of wasabi, and then we'll put it together and add it accordingly. So I think that's about a cup, and then we'll squeeze in about a tablespoon of wasabi. I think that's a good start. And just like a meringue, we want to fold, and folding means going under, turning over, and then turning your vessel, so that we don't end up breaking this stuff too much. Here's our red potato. Skin and all. I'm cutting them into cubes, the size of maybe a regular standard dice or die. Okay, it's time to mix this in. I have a lot of potatoes. Didn't imagine I'll be making this much from the harvest. It didn't look like a lot of potatoes just from digging it up, but we ended up with quite a few. And here is our wasabi potato salad made with red potatoes from the garden. Thanks to our Instagram friend Lola Hoya for the recipe. And thanks to you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.